Let me ask you a question. How many times have you had a brilliant idea, a life-changing goal, or a moment of inspiration, and then did absolutely nothing about it? You felt the fire, you knew what you needed to do, and yet within seconds, doubt crept in. What if I fail? I don't have time. I'm not ready. Sound familiar? Here's the truth. Your mind is either your greatest weapon or your biggest enemy. And the difference? It all comes down to action. Your brain is designed to keep you safe, not to make you successful. That's a hard truth most people don't realize. Every time you try to step outside your comfort zone, your mind immediately activates fear, doubt, and hesitation. This isn't because you're lazy, incapable, or unworthy. It's simply biology. Your brain's number one priority is survival, and to your subconscious, anything unfamiliar feels like a potential threat. Think about all the times you've had a great idea or felt inspired to make a change. Maybe you wanted to start a business, go after a promotion, speak up in a meeting, or even just wake up early and work out. In that split second, the idea felt exciting. You could picture yourself succeeding. But then almost instantly, your brain started working against you. A flood of excuses came in. What if I fail? What if people judge me? I don't have enough experience. Now isn't the right time. That's not you talking. That's your mind trying to keep you safe. Your brain equates change with risk, and risk triggers fear. It doesn't matter if the change is good for you, if it could improve your life, or if it's something you deeply want. If it's unfamiliar, your brain will resist it. That's why most people never take action. They stay stuck in their routines, trapped in the same job, repeating the same habits, living the same life, because their mind convinces them that stepping out is dangerous. This is why you can't wait until you feel ready to take action. If you wait until fear goes away, you'll be waiting forever. Fear never fully disappears, and that's because your brain is always scanning for threats. The moment you hesitate, your mind sees that as uncertainty and immediately tries to pull you back to safety. That hesitation is the gap where dreams die. The second you pause to analyze or overthink, doubt takes over. You start questioning yourself, looking for reasons why it won't work, and before you know it, you've talked yourself out of it. It's not your fault that this happens, but it is your responsibility to override it. You have to recognize that the resistance you feel isn't a real danger, it's just a mental reflex. The key is learning how to take control before your mind takes control of you. Most people think they need to wait for motivation or confidence before they act, but that's not how it works. Motivation is unreliable. Confidence is a result of action, not a prerequisite for it. If you want to build confidence, you have to take action first, despite fear, despite doubt, despite discomfort. Every successful person you admire has faced this exact same mental resistance. The difference? They learned to move forward anyway. They understood that their brain was trying to hold them back, but they chose to act despite it. They didn't wait to feel brave or certain. They just started. That's how you break through. You don't fight your brain's resistance. You acknowledge it and move anyway. The good news is, once you start acting in spite of fear, your brain adapts. What once felt terrifying becomes normal. The first time you step up and speak your mind, it's scary. The second time, it's still uncomfortable. But by the 10th time, it feels natural. That's because your brain rewires itself through action. The more you do something, the less threatening it becomes. The discomfort never fully disappears, but it loses its power over you. The next time you feel fear holding you back, recognize what's happening. It's not a sign to stop. It's a sign that you're growing. Your brain is simply trying to keep you in the same place because that's where it thinks you're safe. But you are not here to play it safe. You are here to grow, to evolve, to push yourself beyond what you think is possible. And that means you can't let your mind be the reason you don't take action. Overthinking is the silent killer of dreams. It sneaks in disguised as logic, convincing you that you need more time, more information, more preparation before you take action. But the truth is, the more you think about something, the less likely you are to do it. Your brain is wired to protect you, and one of its most effective ways to do that is by keeping you stuck in analysis paralysis. The moment you hesitate, your mind starts creating obstacles that weren't even there in the first place. Think about all the times you wanted to do something but ended up talking yourself out of it. Maybe you were about to introduce yourself to someone, but you hesitated just long enough to convince yourself they wouldn't be interested in talking to you. Maybe you planned to start working out, but the moment you started thinking about how hard it would be, you found an excuse to put it off until tomorrow. Maybe you had an idea for a business, but the second you started analyzing all the ways it could go wrong, you convinced yourself it wasn't worth the risk. This is how overthinking works. It turns small moments of doubt into full-blown paralysis. Your brain thrives on patterns, and if you've trained yourself to hesitate and analyze instead of taking action, that hesitation will become automatic. The second you feel inspired to do something, your brain will step in with reasons why you shouldn't. And here's the worst part. Your mind is so convincing that you won't even realize it's happening. You'll mistake overthinking for being responsible. You'll justify your hesitation by calling it planning or waiting for the right time. But in reality, you're just letting fear disguise itself as logic. This is why successful people don't give themselves time to overthink. They understand that action is the antidote to doubt. The longer you sit in hesitation, the more power you give to fear. But when you move immediately, you bypass your brain's ability to hold you back. You don't give your mind the chance to create excuses. You just do the thing before your fear has time to talk you out of it. This is why some of the best decisions in life are made in an instant. Think about any major change you've made in your life. Maybe you decided to leave a toxic job, end a relationship, start a new routine, or speak up when it mattered. The actual decision to act likely happened in a split second. It wasn't something you sat around thinking about for months. You might have struggled with it for a long time, but the action itself happened in an instant. That's how breakthroughs happen. You don't ease your way into them. You make a choice and then you act before you can overthink it. People assume they need to wait for confidence before they take action, but that's not how it works. Confidence is a byproduct of action. You don't become confident first and then take action. You take action first and confidence follows. Every time you act, despite fear, despite doubt, despite hesitation, you build proof that you are capable. And the more proof you have, the more confident you become. The biggest mistake you can make is waiting to feel ready. If you wait until you feel completely confident, until all fear is gone, you'll be waiting forever. The people who achieve great things in life don't act because they're fearless. They act despite the fear. They've trained themselves to move before their mind has a chance to stop them. And once you learn to do that, everything changes. Your mind is incredibly powerful, but it can also be your biggest enemy. It will flood you with excuses, tell you it's not the right time, convince you that you need more preparation, but none of that is true. The only way to move forward is to stop waiting, stop analyzing, and just take action. When you learn to act before you overthink, you take back control. And when you take back control, nothing can stop you. Most people believe they need to feel ready before they take action. They wait for the perfect moment, the right circumstances, the confidence to magically appear before they make a move. But that moment never comes. No one ever truly feels ready to step outside their comfort zone. That's because your brain is designed to keep you safe, and anything unknown feels like a threat. If you wait for the fear to disappear before you act, you'll be waiting forever. The truth is, you don't need to feel ready. You just need to start. Think about a time when you pushed yourself to do something that scared you. Maybe it was speaking in front of a crowd, asking for something you wanted, or making a difficult decision. You probably felt nervous, uncertain, or even terrified. But once you did it, you realized something. You were more capable than you thought. That's because confidence isn't something you have before you take action. It's something you earn by taking action. Every time you do something, despite being afraid, you build trust in yourself. You prove to your own mind that you can handle discomfort, and that's what builds confidence over time. People who achieve great things in life don't start with unshakable confidence. They start with fear, doubt, and uncertainty, just like everyone else. The difference is they don't let those feelings stop them. They understand that confidence isn't a prerequisite for action. It's a result of action. They move forward even when they feel unprepared, even when they don't have all the answers, even when fear is screaming at them to stop. And every time they push through, they get stronger. Their mind starts to associate action with success instead of fear. And they begin to trust themselves more. The biggest lie you tell yourself is that you need to wait until you feel ready. You tell yourself you'll start the business when you have more experience. You'll apply for the job when you feel qualified. You'll take the risk when you're more confident. But that day never comes because confidence doesn't show up in advance. The longer you wait, the more excuses your brain will create. You'll start convincing yourself that you need more time, more training, more preparation. But deep down, it's not about preparation, it's about fear. And the only way to break free from that fear is to act before you feel ready. Think about how many opportunities you've missed because you were waiting for the right moment. How many times have you held back because you doubted yourself? How many dreams have you put on hold because you told yourself, I'm not ready yet? The truth is, no one ever feels completely ready. The people who succeed aren't the ones who feel prepared. They know that growth happens in the doing, not in the waiting. They understand that the only way to build confidence is by stepping into the unknown. Taking action before you feel ready doesn't mean being reckless. It doesn't mean jumping into something without thinking. It simply means recognizing that fear will always be there and moving forward anyway. It means accepting that you won't have all the answers at the start, but trusting yourself to figure things out along the way. Every expert was once a beginner. Every successful person started without knowing exactly what they were doing. The difference is they didn't let that stop them. They started messy. They made mistakes. They learned as they went. Your mind will always find reasons why now isn't the right time. But the truth is, the right time is the moment you decide to start. You don't need more time, more knowledge, or more confidence. You just need to take the first step, because once you do, you'll realize something incredible. You were more ready than you thought, and every step forward will make you stronger. When you hesitate, you give your brain the opportunity to talk you out of taking action. It happens in a split second. One moment you feel inspired to do something, whether it's speaking up in a meeting, reaching out to someone, or taking the first step toward a goal, and the next, doubt creeps in. Your brain starts creating reasons why you shouldn't do it. What if I fail? What if I look stupid? What if it doesn't work? And just like that, the opportunity slips away. This is the pattern that keeps most people stuck. Your brain is wired to avoid risk, and anything that feels uncertain or unfamiliar triggers hesitation. But here's the secret. If you can act before that hesitation takes over, you can change everything. That's where the 5-second rule comes in. The moment you feel the instinct to take action, you count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and move before your brain has a chance to stop you. It sounds simple, but it's incredibly powerful. By counting down, you interrupt the habit of overthinking and shift your brain into action mode. You bypass fear and hesitation, and you train yourself to move forward instead of pulling back. Think about all the times you've talked yourself out of doing something that could have changed your life. Maybe you wanted to introduce yourself to someone who could help you grow, but you hesitated and convinced yourself they wouldn't be interested. Maybe you had an idea for a new business or project, but the moment you started thinking about it, self-doubt crept in and you pushed it aside. Maybe you've been meaning to start working out, wake up earlier, or build a new habit, but every time you try, your brain finds a way to keep you comfortable. That hesitation is what holds you back, and the only way to break free is to act before it stops you. The 5-second rule is based on the science of how your brain works. When you count down, you engage the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making and action. You override the automatic fear-driven responses that keep you stuck. Instead of letting doubt take over, you take control. And once you do, something incredible happens. You start to trust yourself. You start proving to your own mind that you are capable, that you can take action, that you don't have to be controlled by fear. The best part is that this works for everything in life. If you struggle with procrastination, the 5-second rule helps you break the habit. The moment you think, I should start this task, you count down and begin before excuses take over. If you have trouble speaking up, you use the rule to push past fear. The moment you feel the urge to say something, you count down and speak before your brain convinces you to stay silent. If you want to build a new habit, you use the rule to take the first step before your mind resists. The more you practice this, the more you strengthen the neural pathways that encourage action instead of avoidance. Most people wait for motivation, but motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes, and if you depend on it, you'll never be consistent. What you need is a system that helps you take action even when you don't feel like it. That's what the 5-second rule does. It gives you a way to break the habit of hesitation and replace it with the habit of movement. And the more you use it, the more natural it becomes. You start becoming the kind of person who doesn't hesitate, who doesn't let fear win, who doesn't wait for the perfect moment. You become the kind of person who takes action, and that changes everything. The more you train yourself to take action despite fear, the stronger you become. Your brain learns through repetition, and every time you push past hesitation and take a step forward, you're rewiring your mind to work for you instead of against you. Confidence, discipline, and success are not things you're born with. They are built through consistent action. The more you act despite discomfort, the more natural it becomes, and soon the things that once scared you will start to feel easy. Most people believe that fear and doubt are signs to stop, but they are actually signals that you are growing. The first time you do something new, it feels uncomfortable. Your mind resists because it wants to keep you safe. But if you push through and do it anyway, something incredible happens. Your brain adapts. What once felt impossible starts to feel normal. The first time you speak in front of a crowd, your heart races, your palms sweat, and your voice shakes. The second time, it still feels uncomfortable, but not as bad. By the 10th time, you don't even think about it. That's because every time you take action, despite fear, you're building a new neural pathway, and over time it becomes automatic. The mistake most people make is waiting until they feel ready. But readiness doesn't come before action, it comes from action. The only way to get comfortable with something is to do it over and over again until it no longer feels like a big deal. Think about the first time you drove a car. In the beginning, you had to focus on every little detail, adjusting the mirrors, checking your blind spot, keeping your hands at the right position on the wheel. It felt overwhelming because your brain hadn't yet formed the pathways to make driving automatic, but the more you practiced, the easier it became. Now you can drive without even thinking about it. That's the power of repetition. This applies to every area of life. If you struggle with self-doubt, The only way to build confidence is to take action repeatedly, even when you don't feel ready. If you procrastinate, the only way to become disciplined is to force yourself to start again and again until it becomes second nature. If you fear rejection, the only way to overcome it is to put yourself out there so many times that rejection no longer feels like a big deal. The more you expose yourself to something, the less power it has over you. Repetition builds strength, and strength builds momentum. Every time you take action, you prove to yourself that you are capable. You collect small wins, and those wins add up. The more wins you collect, the more unstoppable you become. You start to trust yourself. You start to realize that fear is just an illusion, and that the only thing standing between you and the life you want is your willingness to keep going. It won't always be easy. There will be moments when you want to give up, when the discomfort feels overwhelming, when doubt creeps back in. But if you keep showing up, if you keep pushing through, you will break through the mental barriers that have held you back for so long. You will rewire your brain to expect action instead of hesitation. You will become the kind of person who moves forward, who doesn't wait for the perfect moment, who doesn't let fear dictate their decisions. At first, every step will feel uncomfortable. That's normal. But the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And one day, without even realizing it, you'll look back and see how far you've come. The things that once terrified you will be things you do without thinking. The goals that once felt impossible will be part of your reality. That's the power of repetition. That's how you train your mind to work for you instead of against you. That's how you become unstoppable.